Hey guys, today we'll be making that patch, which I call Fantasy Harp. To get started, make sure you have the synth on for 15 minutes to around a half an hour to get the VCO stabilized, and go ahead and get to an init patch. And if you don't have parameter display turned on, you want to turn that on. Click edit mode, go to the 6th blinking light here, and make sure the parameter display is set to all. Once you have that set to all, press exit, and now when you turn a knob, you'll get a numerical value of where it is. Let's go ahead and tune the synth by holding down Shift and pressing record just to make sure everything is all stable with the VCOs. And this patch is only going to use one VCO, which we're going to use a square wave to get what we got in the beginning there. So I'm just letting it tune right now. Let's go ahead and go to the wave setting here for VCO 1. Make sure it's set to square wave. It'll sound like that, and then we're going to want to shape it, and this is where parameter display helps you. You want to set it to around 240. It's going to sound like that. Now we're going to engage some of the filter, and make sure the master volume is turned down because we're going to use some drive in a bit. So we want to have the filter set to around 440. It'll sound like this, which is quite dull. And now let's engage the drive, set the drive control all the way to 100%. Cool, and now we're gonna work with the amplitude envelope. So we want the no attack, so make sure that's at 0. By default it is set to 0. We want the decay right around the 500 mark, and we want sustain all the way up, so at 1023, and then you want the release at around 800 or so. Now we're going to use the next envelope generator to use it as a filter envelope, so set that target to cutoff, and we want to set the basically the strength of it here with the EG int to around 30, and you want to set the decay right around 220 or so. And the attack is going to be set to 0 by default. And that'll lead to that sound. As you're working through this, you will want to just play around and listen to what everything does so you can get an idea of what kind of patch you can make yourself. So let's go to the effects section, and this is where it's going to get really fun. The first effect we're going to go ahead and engage is the delay. So switch it down to delay, turn the delay on, go through the delays until you find the tape delay. And we're going to want to set the time all the way to the maximum and set the depth, which in this case, the depth is the feedback control, to around 78%. If you go too high, it'll start self-oscillating. Now, one of the things I want to share with you, and it's in the manual, but if you hold down Shift and you use the depth control now, you can set the amount of how wet and dry the effect is. All the way to the right is completely wet, so you'll not hear anything except for the delay. And then all the way to the left, you'll hear just the dry signal, and in the middle it's a mix between the two. And you can change that to taste. I'm going to make it a little lower than normal, so a little lower than half. So the delay just doesn't get in the way of everything. Now let's go to the reverb, so switch to reverb. That also works with the reverb, the mix control. So turn on the reverb, and by default it's the Hall algorithm. Set the time to around 2 seconds, and this time we want to set the depth all the way up, which depth I guess is like density in this case. And there you go. It sounds like that Fantasy Harp patch I was working on. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope this helped out.